One of the bright spots of the gaming industry in 2024 was the story of Shift Up, the developer of the well-regarded Stellar Blade title, coming to the market, getting completely and totally bullied by the gaming press, and then being overwhelmingly embraced by the public. Well, they're bringing their talents to the PC, which is a fantastic news. If you thought that there were going to be some journos spurging out about some skimpy costumes on the PS5, just wait until some modders get their hands on this stuff. And just wait until they start spurging out on that, when you can just go ahead and post, oh yeah, you guys are out there applauding when BioWare brings intimacy coordinators and noise enthusiasts in to consult on your crusty looking JPEGs running together, you bunch of freaks. But no, it's actually, it's even more news than just simply announcing a PC port. Coming to Steam, it's coming to EGS, that's all great. Go ahead and play it wherever you want. I want fewer exclusives, more avenues for people to play great games. And from what I hear, yeah, I don't know necessarily if Stellar Blade is a great game. I hear good things about it, but I didn't exactly hear lasting things about it. Basically, Black Myth Wukong ended up doing everything that Stellar Blade did, just better, with a little bit more body hair. Shift Up announced financial results solid for the third quarter of 2024, driven by the success of its benchmark securities. The company recorded a sharp increase in its net revenues and operating profits. A highlight goes for the performance of Goddess of Victory NieR, which remains one of the most popular mobile games in South Korea since its launch in 2022. Yeah, that's basically the driver of their business model, but of course, breaking in to the more traditional gaming landscape with Stellar Blade, that's a more important step to getting I would say, a higher profile for their studio in general, because people might be playing, and I'd imagine that a lot of people do play Goddess of Victory, but they don't know Shift Up makes this. But they know, especially with everything that went on in 2024, they know Shift Up made Stellar Blade, and they made sure that Eve was front and center for all of that marketing. Aiming to further expand its player base and strengthen its success of Stellar Blade, Shift Up announced that the game will be released on PC in 2025, available for, two of the biggest PC retailers with Steam and EGS. In addition to the financial results of the plans for Stellar Blade, this is a Eurogamer Portuguese that is poorly translated, so if you're reading along, you might also notice a ton of grammatical errors. Also revealed other important information: a partnership with Netflix to produce an animated series based on Goddess of Victory NieR, and opening a new studio in Los Angeles. It's like, oh no, that's not good. You're moving your based Korean studio off to the censorious lands of Southern California. Not great at all, so keep an eye on that one, because a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on the tie-in when it comes to NieR Automata and Stellar Blade. And bro, I think we might be hearing a little bit more about Stellar Blade as the year draws to a close here, because this expansion, this DLC, well, it's going to be popular, mostly because it's a confluence of two of the most popular female protagonists from Eastern developed games in a long time. And also, don't mind the costume, but I thought real women don't look like that. What are you doing? That's just gross and disgusting, and you should have chicks that look like Ma'am Solo with their pan face that sell next to 0 copies for Star Wars Outlaws. That's what real women look like. Train wrecks. Veritable 3s and 4s, as opposed to, the 9s and 10s that used to permeate the gaming industry. It's almost like, and follow me on this one, both men and women want the idealized, perfected version of humanity if they're going to be playing as a human being. Almost like that's a universal truth for actual gamers and not freaks that write for crusty asshole outlets. It's almost like when a game studio isn't headquartered on Western shores, they actually have some good ideas. Case in point, okay? NieR creator Yokotaro voices concerns over rise in credit card companies refusing to handle adult content. Follow me on this one. If they have control of the clearinghouse, they can even use it to control speech in other countries. Absolutely based, because that's the thing. There's a lot of big payment processors that are out there. Not even just speaking about Visa, MasterCard, Discover, Amex, or anything like that. Not wanting to specifically deal with, illicit websites or adult content. Anything that could be considered adult content. We generally know what that means at that point in time, right? Like your certain websites that get marketed by poorly titled musical adaptations for the big screen. Check out wicked.com. Oh, I'm sorry, wickedthemovie.com. But what about you start to get some more ideologues calling the shots at these payment processors, okay? And they start to see, costumes like this that they don't necessarily think are on the up and up. They aren't suitable for younger eyes. Meanwhile, they want to have younger eyes saturated with a bunch of gender weirdos and confused freaks that wouldn't look out of place in the theoretical next Dragon Age game. So yeah, money's money. And I understand if you have like chargeback concerns or something like that. Nobody's saying don't do business with whoever you don't want to or you don't think is a economic boon. It's just to trying to play the moral high ground on this. You end up looking like a fool instead of a savior. But let's take a look at what Taro has to say about this. Ever the advocate for freedom of expression, particularly of the risque variety, Drakengard and NieR series creator Yokotaro has admitted to feeling more than a little uncomfortable with the potential threat to free speech posed by credit card companies' growing refusal to process payments for adult content. Yeah, that's the avatar that he uses in public. Pay no attention to the, bobblehead behind the mask. Taro spoke out against the rising phenomenon on November 5th via his personal Twitter account. His mind ostensibly turned to the subject thanks to a recent news that publicly accessible out-of-print manga archive, Manga Library Z, would be shutting down after various credit card companies dropped them as a client due to the hosting of various erotic comments. That's crazy. Credit card payment companies are refusing to accept legitimate adult content payments, wrote the eccentric video game director, as machine translated by DeepL. Okay, regulations beyond the law have been in place in publishing and other fields, but the fact that the payment processors, which is involved in an entire distribution infrastructure, can do so at its own discretion seems to me to be a different level of danger. If they have control of the clearinghouse, they can even use it to control speech in other countries. Absolutely, man, 100%. Proceeding to head off those bad faith critics who would dismiss the concerns as being rooted in nothing more than perversion. Taro would affirm in a follow-up tweet that his personal position was actually born out of fear that such power structures could eventually have very real consequences for peoples worldwide. I get the sense that this is not a matter of adult regulation or freedom of expression, he affirmed, but a security hole for democracy as a whole. Exactly. It's another one of those examples of, oh no, we're just trying to be the shepherds of civility here. Don't mind us. Somebody has to think about the children. Well, it's like, yeah, we see what you think about children. We think that you could probably stay away from it at about a 500-yard clip from any publicly accessible playgrounds. As noted above, though Taro does not specify what specific events or persons prompted his tweets, given their timing, it's almost certain that the aforementioned shuttering of Manga Library Z was at the forefront of his mind. When he wrote them. For the recap of the situation provided by Manga Library Z founder and Love Hina mangaka Ken Akamatsu. Sure. The direct cause of the site shutdown this time was that the payment agency notified us that it was terminating the entire payment service, including payment methods of other credit card payments. All credit card companies, including JCB, suddenly became unusable, and all the other payment methods except BitCash also became unavailable. In addition, even the payment for the month that had already passed was withheld. Oh, so now they're just stealing from you. Fantastic. And since the premium membership fee for the period and future ones is no longer coming in at all, we found ourselves in a situation where we could not even pay for the server. Manga Library Z management staff discussed the situation and came to the conclusion that it is impossible to operate the site solely on BitCash earnings. Yeah, exactly. Oh, why don't you switch to Bitcoin? Not everybody's going to switch to Bitcoin like that overnight so they can continue their entertainment purchases, okay? You crypto guys, it's like, yeah, I understand that, you think you're the future, but in reality, not that easy of a flick of a switch for so many people that are out there. But yeah, okay, well, I would see it's not exactly a poster or anything that I would put up there. Neither is, Tubi and Stellar Blade, okay? I'm not doing any of that type of stuff. That to me that's pedestalization of women. I think is acceptable for thumbnails, but not really for decoration in my abode. But I wouldn't begrudge you if you were to go ahead and objectify a bitch like that. I could be convinced that that's fairly based. But the opinions of Yokotaro, the guy's 100% on point. If they can, whenever they manipulate the money, they end up eventually manipulating the speech. And that's why I've had such a close eye on Shift Up, not wanting to give them a full-throated endorsement. Leave that up to even her body model, because we see the way that these trends tend to go. And honestly, if there are some indicators that are out there, and it kind of lets us know that this type of overly censorious mollycoddling. It seems to be falling out of vogue, but at least in the short term, 2025, yeah, it might be pretty lean. The future looks bright. It's just going to be a short trip through the precipitation of the woke acolyte tiers. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.